Loki helped and harmed the gods. These 5 acts changed everything, for in the realm of Asgard, where immortals walked and the threads of fate were spun with care and caution, there existed no force as unpredictable, as cunning, and as dangerous as Loki, the god of mischief, whose mind was as sharp as a serpent's tooth, and whose actions rippled across the lives of gods and mortals alike, shaping destinies in ways that were often unseen, but always felt, for even the mighty Odin and the brave Thor could not escape the subtle manipulations that Loki wove with a grin, a whisper, and a single daring act.
Unveil the legends.
Began with a seemingly simple prank, a joke that would cascade into chaos, and yet leave a gift for the ages. For Loki, in one of his earliest known acts of trickery, saw Sif, the golden-haired wife of Thor, whose beauty and radiance were admired across Asgard, and in a moment of impish curiosity, decided that her flowing hair would be a fitting subject for his mischief, and with a swift and silent hand, he snipped away the shimmering locks, leaving Sif devastated, and Thor, enraged beyond reason, for the mighty thunder god, whose temper could rival the storms themselves, demanded that Loki correct this wrongdoing immediately, and thus, with a mixture of cunning and desperation, Loki sought out the masterful dwarves of Nidavellir, craftsmen, whose skill could rival the hands of the Norns themselves, and in return for treasures untold, he commissioned them to forge new golden hair for Sif that would grow as naturally as the hair she had lost. And yet, in the process, these dwarves, inspired by Loki's meddling, created some of the most powerful artifacts known to the gods, including Thor's mighty hammer, Mjolnir, and the magical ship, Sleipnir. And so what began as a cruel jest ended in gifts that would protect and empower the gods for generations, all because Loki's mind found amusement in the hair of a goddess. Loki's manipulations did not end with hair or treasures, for in a time when the walls of Asgard stood strong but incomplete, a builder appeared, a giant of immense strength and ambition, who promised to finish the fortifications of the gods in a single season, demanding as his reward the sun, the moon, and the goddess Freya herself. And the gods, bound by oaths they dared not break, were caught in a web of impossibility, for the giant's work was unstoppable unless they offered a solution of equal cleverness. And it was here that Loki's mind shone, twisted and brilliant, for he transformed himself into a mare and lured the giant's powerful stallion away, disrupting the progress and ensuring that the builder could not complete his bargain. And from this strange and daring act, Loki gave birth to Sleipnir, an 8-legged horse of unmatched speed and strength, who would become Odin's steed, a creature born of mischief and necessity. And in this way, the gods were saved from losing everything. Yet Loki's manipulation left them wary, for they understood that even in acts that served Asgard, Loki's methods were unpredictable and perilous, a reminder that chaos and order often danced hand in hand under his influence. Loki's cleverness often walked the thin line between heroism and villainy, and perhaps no act illustrates this duality more than the day he led the gods to a lesson in vulnerability through the abduction of Idun, the keeper of the golden apples that granted immortality and youth. For it was Loki who, under threat from the giant Tizai, lured Idun from Asgard into a trap, allowing the giant to seize her and her precious fruit, leaving the gods to age and weaken almost overnight. And in the cold realization of their fragility, the gods turned their fear and frustration upon Loki. Yet it was also through his cunning that Idun was eventually rescued, and the golden apples returned, but not without the lesson that even the gods, with all their might and foresight, were vulnerable to the schemes of one who understood how to exploit desire, fear, and obligation. And through this act, Loki reminded Asgard that power alone could not guarantee safety, and that sometimes it took a trickster to reveal the truth that even the wisest could not see. Perhaps the most infamous of Loki's manipulations was his role in the death of Baldr, the beloved god whose very presence was said to radiate light and joy. For the gods, seeing Baldr as invulnerable, had bound him with assurances that no weapon or threat could harm him, yet Loki, ever observant, discovered the secret vulnerability that lay in a single mistletoe sprig, and with a smile as cold as winter, he guided the blind god Hotjar to strike Baldr with this seemingly harmless plant, bringing death to a god whose life had seemed untouchable, and plunging Asgard into grief, chaos, and uncertainty, for nothing had prepared them for the loss. And the blame, of course, fell upon Loki, whose machinations were no longer playful or small, but devastating in their consequences, and through this singular act, Loki's power as a manipulator of fate was fully realized, leaving a legacy of sorrow, fear, and the undeniable truth that no one, not even a god, was safe from the cunning of the trickster. And so, when we step back from these 5 acts, the theft of Sif's hair, the disruption of the builder, the abduction of Idun's apples, the schemes surrounding Baldr's death, and the birth of Sleipnir, it becomes clear that Loki's genius was not merely in the chaos he wrought, but in the way he revealed truths, vulnerabilities, and hidden possibilities within the gods themselves, for each act, whether mischievous, harmful, or unexpectedly beneficial, served to challenge the assumptions, pride, and complacency of Asgard, and to remind both gods and mortals that life, even among immortals, was shaped not only by strength or honor, but by cunning, risk, and the unpredictable forces that lurked in shadow. And perhaps this is the ultimate lesson of Loki, that true influence does not always come from the visible hand or the loud command, but from the mind that sees patterns others cannot, from the one who can sow discord and insight in equal measure, and who leaves the world forever altered by acts that are as entertaining as they are dangerous. And it is in this duality, the blend of harm and help, that Loki's mastery is fully understood, for he is neither wholly evil nor entirely good, but a necessary force, a catalyst of change, a reminder that the world is never static, and that even gods must reckon with the cleverness of one who laughs while the fates tremble. And so, as we reflect upon these 5 master manipulations, we begin to understand that Loki, the god of mischief, was far more than a prankster, far more than a villain, for through his cunning, his daring, and his relentless curiosity, he shaped the lives of gods, the destiny of Asgard, and the very stories we tell about power, consequence, and the delicate balance between chaos and order. And perhaps in the end, we see that it is the tricksters, the manipulators, and the unpredictable minds like Loki who remind us that the world is never truly safe, never fully understood, and that even in the realms of the immortal, a single act of cleverness can change everything. And if you wish to explore more of Loki's schemes, his betrayals, and the secrets he left behind for the gods and for humanity alike, then stay tuned, for the stories of the trickster are far from over, and the threads of mischief continue to weave through the tapestry of mythology in ways that are as surprising as they are unforgettable.